join me in rises for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chris, we got 5 minutes before we start. You got anything for us?
Good. Well, I can go through some of the rentals and things of that nature.
Sure.
That's okay.
Yep.
First, before I do that, we got a phone call today. The question was raised that someone is going to hire a food truck for a private event. They have a alcohol license from another community. So I'm presuming they're going to be serving alcohol at this private event. Are you going to require them to get a one-day liquor license through the town of Granby, even though they have a current liquor license through another community?
That's a good question.
The liquor license is not transferable from town to town. I mean,
Some communities allow them to operate under their existing license.
License.
Some communities require the one-day permit.
what town is it from?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We didn't ask that question. We were just trying to get basic questions.
Yeah, I mean, I just to be safe, I run it through Brian, town council, just see if there's any issues with them not having a liquor license through us. If he thinks they should, then we would have them do it. I mean, it's someone's having a private party at their house. I know it's a business that's coming in and catering
It's not on public land, so
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So what's the difference if I have a party at my house and I'm serving alcohol?
yeah, because you become the liable
Yeah.
person if anything happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So that person is licensed, just happens to be through a different town, so, it's still authority, you know, throughout the state too, so.
Yeah.
I would just run it by town council to, you know, see if there's anything that we're missing on that, but,
Okay,
yeah, but that's just my take on it.
that's fine. That's fine. For rentals, we have a birthday party on June 26, 2022, arriving 1 p.m., departing 4 p.m. Number of people 50, liquor no. It's in the large pavilion and gazebo in the large open field. Next one, we have a celebration of life on July 16th, 2022, arriving 8 a.m., departing 8 p.m. Liquor no, number of people is 60 in the large pavilion, gazebo in the large open field. We have a family picnic on August 13th, 2022, arriving 9:30 a.m., departing 5:30 p.m. Liquor authorized no, maximum number of people 75 to 100. Area requested, parking lot area, open field, wooded areas on either side of the open field and pavilion. It's at 5:34, and I don't know if you want to go and do your reorganization, even though we're 1 minute in advance.
Okay. Let's reorganization. I think that's the next thing we got to deal with.
All right. Well, first position we have is chair, so, I'd be honored to be chair, if the rest of the board feels so. I mean, I was chair, for a year previously on the select board. I was also chair for the planning board for 3 years, so.
I'm glad you said that.
Me as well.
Because I was going to nominate you anyhow. Yes, Glenn, that would be awesome if you could become chair.
All right,
Yes,
so
thank you very much.
To make it formal,
Yeah.
I'll nominate myself for chair.
No, you want me to do it, so you don't
Well,
have
it
to.
doesn't matter. I think
I'll make a nomination that Glenn Sexton will be our next chair.
I'll second Rick's motion. All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? No? All right. Now, our next is our clerk position. Rick, I would ask if you still want to be clerk, or Crystal, if you're interested in it, or you just want to kind of go through it. But
yeah.
my thing is, and I explained this last
Yeah.
year to Rick.
It's a good thing.
That I think, you know, when someone new comes aboard, I think, and I know from my self-experience, that person being clerk, it kind of gets them really involved in a lot of things right away, and I know it helped me learn things quicker than kind of just sitting back listening what's happening. So I mean, I don't know if Rick can speak to that as well, because I nominated Rick last year for it, and that was my reason behind it, because I felt when I was that person, it helped me along. So I don't know if Rick wants to speak to that.
And I will for a little bit. It does. It helps you go along, and it's, you know, I can explain it to you, so you're not.
I was going to say, what are the duties of the clerk?
Basically.
Minutes,
follow
like you do in any...
No,
The minutes
no,
is
you don't do
to
the
the
minutes.
town administrator. I asked the
Okay.
same question a year ago.
You basically, things that come up, you are more or less, you'll present some things to the board. They have to read some things and stuff like that.
Okay.
Any
Different
of-
such things.
Approval and sign maintenance warrants, you gotta say. You gotta make a motion, the chair,
Okay.
you get a second, the chair will go. All in favor.
You'll find out, Crystal, you read a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of things that would, as clerk, you're really the person that's presenting things to the rest of the board.
Okay.
It's a very good learning experience.
However, with that said, I don't want to pressure anybody into something they don't feel comfortable doing either. So, I think Rick was kind of saying the same thing I was saying.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
you want to be clerk, I mean, I think I'd be happy to nominate you for clerk. But if you don't, I don't want to have you feel like you have to do it.
No,
So,
I think I can do it. I'll have to learn,
well, yes.
like, of course, but yeah, I don't mind doing it.
If I can do it, you can.
All right, well, I'll nominate Crystal for clerk.
And I'll second that.
All right.
All those in favor?
That's mine now.
Oh. I'm
So quick.
I'm new at this seat.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? No? All right, well, there we go.
So, Mr. Chair, you're going to have Crystal read everything tonight into the...
I don't want to just throw it right into the fire, so I think unless she wants to, if not, I was hoping maybe you could.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great, Chris.
Articles.
All right.
Next matter, the void and the one-day liquor license.
Well, you've got 2 minutes before that occurs.
No.
Do you want to accept departmental reports?
Sure.
Is there a motion to, Crystal, did you get a chance to read them?
I read half of them.
All right.
I didn't know Kathy was going to be emailing them to me, so
Okay.
by the time I saw the email, it was 4 o'clock, so
right,
I've
so-
been trying to read it, so I don't feel comfortable enough to
All right.
vote on them.
Okay, so we can wait till our next meeting. We don't have to be
okay.
done this, today, so we'll wait
Okay.
till our next meeting so it gives you a chance to review them, so you can, in
Okay.
case you have any questions or comments regards to them. So we'll just push those off to our next meeting, Chris.
Yep.
I think that probably brings us up to
5:39.
Again, you're 1 minute ahead. Do you want to
Yeah,
go ahead or?
well, we got, we'll give it 30 seconds.
Do you want to go through the maintenance warrants or the warrants?
No, I think
Okay.
we can go ahead. I think I have, 5:39. Well, there any correspondence? Anything else besides
There
that?
wasn't that much, it just has to do with the bankruptcy of the community eco
Okay.
that used to take our municipal waste, but no longer does.
Did you ever have the opportunity to figure out what the difference that our cost was gonna be?
No.
Are we talking about that?
Let me make a note and I'll have that.
Yeah,
in the next
just
meeting.
curious the difference for what our contract originally was with the company that is no longer doing it, so. versus what we entered into with the new company due to the original company going out of business. Is there any citizen participation? Mr. Randall, sir, if you would state your name and address, and if you wish to come up here.
No, I can, do right.
That's fine, that's up to you.
George Randall, 52 Taylor. I'd like to speak to two things tonight. Number one is to speak to your 540 appointment. And number two, and most important, is to welcome Mrs. Dufresne to the slip.
Thank you.
Thank-
I did.
He did. Well, thank you, George. You got us to the 5:40 time. All right, so we'll review the Lavoy one-day liquor license.
That's me. You want me to come up?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Great. This is my fiance.
Okay.
There you go.
So the liquor license is for what?
We're having a Jack and Jill for ahead of our wedding. We're hoping to just have our family and friends who can't make it to our wedding come and have a good time with us, and just beer and wine. We're looking at 2 cases of beer and 1 case of wine. If that is objectionable to anybody, we're happy to scale that back. We're just thinking we'd use whatever's left over for the wedding afterward, so.
Where are you having it?
At Dufresne, we rented
Okay.
the large pavilion
Okay.
for May 25th from, I think right now it's down from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., but we're gonna maybe reschedule maintenance to come a little bit later than that on a Saturday morning.
All right. You have to have a police officer there.
So I spoke to Officer O'Grady this morning, and he recommended, he said he would pass on his recommendation that we didn't need a police detail, but that could be flexible.
All right. Since the chief is
pending
here,
coming by.
I'll actually
Yeah.
have him speak for
Yes,
himself.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
No. I just want to clarify, the date of the event is May 28th, correct?
Yes, sorry, is that what,
You said the 25th.
I'm sorry, I meant the 28th.
Okay, I just want to make sure, that's all.
Yes, the 28th.
It's important when you know when you're Jack and Jill is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Chief?
So, I spoke with Ms. LaVoy today. Sounds like a very small-scale family party. I advised her that I think we could try without, and if my officers swing through and it seems like it's larger scale than what was portrayed, then we may have to hire a detail officer at that point, but it sounded very minimal. She said there's going to be a lot of children, 96-year-old grandmother. Sounds like a very family-oriented event that I feel comfortable saying as an officer is not necessary this time.
Okay. And obviously, as the chief said, if they go through and they feel
Yeah.
different at the time, then you will be required to have an officer.
Absolutely. I had a question about what the, if there's like a stated rate for that, if that were the case. for
There is
some
a rate.
reason.
There is a rate, it's a Saturday, so
No.
it's $82.50 an hour with a 4-hour minimum.
Okay.
So basically, behave yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell my 96-year-old great-grandmother to
Yeah.
keep,
Tell her to keep everybody, paying attention.
yeah.
All right. I don't have any concerns based on the chief's recommendation as far as having a police officer there, and based on what was explained to us as far as what the party or get-together is going to be. I don't see a reason why wouldn't issue the one-day liquor license.
I agree.
Yep.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the one-day liquor license for, what is your first name?
Kendall Lavoy.
Kendall?
Kendall, yeah.
Okay, Kendall Lavoy.
Thank you.
So it's going to be issued to you? Okay. Is there a second?
Oh, you second it?
Yep.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Can I just add something?
Yes, sir.
To be held on May 28th,
28.
2022, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay, you're all set.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
What's the wedding?
Did Mr.
Wedding is
Randall
on
want to take
July
comment
2nd.
on it?
Oh, I'm sorry, did he?
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you have any comments? I'm
No, I was
sorry.
asking her when she...
No, I apologize, if you just hang on one second, no, George.
That's okay, I just, again, George Randall, 52 Taylor. I've known this couple for a short while, very responsible young couple. Thank you for granting them the permission for that. I look forward to them getting involved in town affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Randall.
Thank you.
There you go.
I apologize for not having, I thought you were, I thought when you said you were in favor for them, when you first spoke, so I didn't realize it was in addition to that, so, but thank you, Chris. All right, we did have a 5:50 appointment for James Trompke, but that's been canceled at this time, so.
It'll be brought forward.
A later date, yeah, a few dates, so just canceled, more or less postponed, so we'll probably, later date. We can move on to, what else we have? This, maintenance warrants, Chris?
You have 3 warrants in front of you. Warrant number 68, dated May 6, 2022, the amount of $234,734.69. That is a bill paying warrant. Warrant number 69, dated May 13, 2022, the amount of $451,598.50. That is the payroll warrant. And warrant number 70, dated May 13, 2022, the amount of $191,850.21. And that is the maintenance warrant that goes along with the payroll warrant.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve and sign the maintenance warrants number 68, number 69, and number 70.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Somebody opposed? All right, that's it.
Glenn will sign up here.
We have the special town meeting coming up on, this next Monday, May 23rd.
May 23rd, yes, starting at 7 p.m. in the East Middle Gymnasium. Okay? Article 1 is the amount of $15,000. Subsequent to setting everything for the annual town meeting, I was informed by the assessors department that they needed to upgrade their vision assessing software. Apparently, the company who maintains the software will no longer maintain their version 6.0. They are requiring them to upgrade to 8.0, and the sum of that is $15,000.
Okay.
And that is just going to be transferred out of their personal services account down to capital account. Okay.
Okay.
Article 2 is for $15,000. That is to transfer into the public buildings account for repairs for the Council on Aging and the Public Safety Complex water systems. And that's going to be transferred out of the Board of Selectmen Personal Services account. The Council on Aging, we've been on a boil order since last June. We finally got DEP to give approval to install a new seal on the well out back here. They just gave that approval in May, and hopefully we can get that resolved. The other issue is we also have an issue with the water system at the public safety complex. When it was designed, they designed 2 storage tanks, 2 7,500-gallon storage tanks. Well, come to find out, the complex doesn't go through much water. So we've been getting some bacterial hits every now and then due to the fact that we're not moving that water fast enough. So we hired an engineer to come in and redesign the system down to one tank. DEP has approved it, and we're going forward with that to hopefully eliminate these future bacterial hits at that complex.
Okay.
So that's what
Yep.
that's regarding.
Chris, as you're talking about it, can we ask questions, or do you want us to wait till
No,
the
we
end?
can ask.
Okay. What account did you say it was coming from for the Board of Selectmen?
It's coming from 01-122-5120. That's personal services.
Okay.
That was, we had put money into that account for the planner, conservation agent,
Okay.
because we had hired, and then at the last minute, he decided not to take the job. We have excess money sitting in there that we can
Okay.
use to fund this.
Anything else, Kristen?
No, thank you.
Article 3 is to also fund the public buildings expense budget for FY22 in the amount of $10,000. We've had sort of a bad run of bad luck in '22. There was a car crash on 202 that, because it interrupted or did a brownout on the power supply, it burnt up our well pump. So we had to replace the well pump at $3,500. We've had, like I said, we've had the ongoing issue of bacterial hits at the public safety complex, which caused an increase in the amount of testing that we had to do. We also, because of the bacterial hit here, or the boil over here, we've had the increased number of testing that's required on a monthly basis on the water. So what we're doing is trying to cover those unanticipated expenditures over FY22.
So the pump burning out, was that directly related to the automobile accident?
I don't know. All we found out, I think it was, we found out because your generator didn't kick in.
Right. I got a call that the power on the station was on. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and then when I went in to see what the heck how Jeremy fixed the issue, we know that I'm like, well, we don't have. Bottom line is the generator was running, but it wasn't producing because it was tricked. It was like down a phase. So by the time we restarted the generator again, National Grid had already completely knocked the power out, which when we restarted the generator, then it did everything right. And then that Monday, I believe it was, started having water issues. So it's,
Yeah.
if not, it's very coincidental that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's can be any type of investigation to see if, we can obtain any money from, from insurance company for the accident. If the accident is directly related to the burning out of the pump. If that was,
Was the insurance company mentioned in the accident report? We'll try
yeah,
to see.
and if we can, if that was related directly to the accident and the electrical wire burnt out the pump, then,
The crash was literally at Quarter Street and
yeah,
Quarter and 202, so.
yeah, something to look into, at least. Okay.
And what account was this one coming from, Chris?
That's coming from the diesel fuel account. You have the account number in front of you, I'm just going to give
Yeah.
you the description.
Yeah, no, that's perfect,
All right.
because I don't know the numbers, so that's perfect,
No,
thank
that's
you.
okay. Article 4 is for $4,000 for the audit department as a result of getting large grants due to COVID over FY22, or 21, I'm sorry, FY21. Our audit ended up going 4,000 over because we had to file what's called a single audit report to the federal government, and that was an additional $4,000 to prepare that report and go through and do their testing of as required by the federal government under a single audit act. And that money is also coming out of the diesel account. Article 5 is $30,000 for the legal department expense budget. That one there is, we've had a few labor issues over FY22. We've also we finally got our day in court, or 2 days in court regarding GRANBY Bow and Gun Club. So we've had large unanticipated bills for going through that process. We still haven't heard back a determination from the judge yet regarding that. So the issue is hopefully we'll hear soon and be able to put the issue of the gun club and the noise issue behind us.
That's been almost like 5 years.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. Since this all started.
When we started, they said to get in front of the judge, it was going to be a 3 to 4 year
Yeah.
process. No.
Yep.
So hopefully we can be done with it and they don't appeal it to some higher court. That one is coming out of our workers' comp budget.
Glenn, can I ask a question? Or make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you do it.
Okay, I hope at the town meeting, people are told, like you just said, this $30,000 is coming out of what account?
Workers' comp.
And no explanation, $30,000. Taxpayers have approved that $30,000 to go into the workers' comp account. Now, why is there $30,000 left in that account to be transferred to something else that wasn't approved by taxpayers? I mean, that's a very large amount of money.
But I think a lot of I don't say a lot of accounts, but different accounts have different funds that are put into them, and they're not always exactly what they're going to be, but there's enough funds put in for them so that they have that money in there if things do happen. If things don't happen, that money's still in that account. It's got to be moved somewhere else.
But could an explanation like that, be given
Yeah.
to the people, some type of explanation of why that money is coming out of an account that has already been approved for
We can definitely give an explanation. Absolutely. It's the people's money.
Yeah, right.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Would you like the explanation, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
All right. When we put the budget together, we're putting a budget together 18 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We are projecting payroll increases. We're projecting experience rating factors. We're projecting a lot of different percentages based upon the actual audit numbers and the percentages that were applied. Our actual premium for the workers' comp policy was less than what was anticipated.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah. So pretty much what I said, but you kind of broke it down to,
But that's exactly the answer that should be given to the people.
well, yeah, that's exactly that. Anything that does come up, Rich, we'll make sure that it's explained to the people, and obviously, if anybody has any questions, obviously, we know they're more than welcome to ask those questions. But those are definitely things we can give explanations before the questions are maybe asked. So, yeah, sure. I appreciate that. Chris?
Article number 6 is $3,000 for the moderator's expense budget. That one there is, we decided to rent the electronic clickers for the annual town meeting, and we're going to be doing them for the meeting on Monday night. It costs about $1,500 per meeting to rent 300 clickers. And we hadn't anticipated that when we did the original budget. This was something that was decided upon probably back in January or February to try them. And so we need to move money into that account.
Right, we wanted to try them before we actually purchased them. And then we kind of found out purchasing them, you might end up paying more than if we just rented them
Yep.
in the long
To
run.
buy them, it was going to be almost $10,000.
Yeah, and then the software's got to be updated as years go on too, and, yeah. Okay, all right.
And that one is from gasoline. Article 7 is $40,000.
Sure you got all this money with diesel and gasoline prices going up?
I'm worried about FY23's budget. Because.
I'm being serious too.
I planned a 24% increase in FY23. What has been running for the last couple months is 40 to 60% increase in diesel.
So we need to take a look at that before, too long down the road.
Over $6
Yeah.
a gallon.
So we can kind of prepare, so we're not, 9 months from now, we're not, looking at budgets that are drained out because of
Oh, yeah,
fuel costs.
believe me,
That's scary.
I'm tracking it every time we buy, I'm tracking it, trying to figure out. But I think, yes, at some point midstream, we may have to do a supplemental budget
Right.
for fuel. And that's not even looking at the heating budget yet. Because I don't know where that's gonna end up going.
All right. Moving along.
Article 7 is $40,000 for the fire department expense budget. Basically, it's coming out of the snow and ice expense budget. We had somewhat mild year, even though we were out a lot doing salting and sanding. There wasn't a lot of snow.
Yep.
There wasn't a lot of expense for that. We lucked out, the salt didn't go up as much as we anticipated. And just lucked out on that stuff.
Yeah.
And the fire department expense budget their expenditures came in higher than what was anticipated by the department when the budget was set. Article 8 is we're going to be taking $20,000 and transferring it out of the retained earnings account for the ambulance department to cover their personal services budget, due to the fact that we have been running somewhat short on staffing, and a lot of overtime has been being paid out over the course of the year that we need to turn around and cover those expenditures. Article 9 is the amount of $66,527.57. That is to cover the costs that were expended during the process of trying to design the water main project up Route 202. Had to deal with engineering costs, had to deal with architect costs, and other expenditures related to allowing South Hadley Water District to have their engineer look at our plans to make sure it was compatible to their existing pipe system, things of that nature. And that one too is coming out of the workers' comp account. Articles 10, 11, and 12 are zoning bylaw changes as requested by the planning board. I do want to let this board know that I was informed today that a planning board member, I don't think is going to be present at the meeting next Monday. And they will probably have to have their advisor from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission present the discussion as to each of these changes. I will be talking with the moderator because I don't believe he can present the article. He can present discussion on the article, but he can't present the article.
Yeah.
I'll probably talk with town council too on this regarding, does a planning board member at least have to be in the room? Whether they are familiar with it or not.
And my understanding is that a planning board member has to be there because that person is legally representing the board. The other person's not a board member, so he can't speak on behalf of the board. So,
Well, I'll see what town council
Town
and
council,
moderator
yeah.
says, because if it comes down to that,
Obviously, yep,
we're gonna have to postpone
right.
these three articles.
Unless some way the planning board can have a member be there. So, okay.
Do you want me to go through each one of them, or?
We can, we might as well, I guess. Why don't you, Chris, if you don't mind?
Just give me a second. Okay, Article 10 is to create a new definition under the solar, large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic installations. Basically, they're adding Section 1.2 by adding a definition called a solar tariff generation unit, which is a generation unit that generates electricity using solar photovoltaic technology and meets all of the eligibility criteria set forth in 225 CMR 20.00. And then they are also amending 5.99.3.3.A.2, which says large-scale ground-mounted photovoltaic installations shall not be allowed on important agricultural farmlands as defined by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, as those soils found to be important farmlands pursuant to 7 CFR Section 657.5, that includes prime farmlands, unique farmlands, and additional land of state importance unless they are agricultural solar tariff generating units, as defined by the Solar Massachusetts Renewable Target SMART program guidelines in 225 CMR 20-00. What's that?
Yep.
Article 11 is amending to include definitions for a private event and a private event venue. A private event will be an event that is periodic or special in nature, with guests in attendance by invitation only and not open to the public. Examples include, but are not limited to, a banquet, reception, ceremony, service, or open house. A private event venue is a site or facility approved by the town of Granby to conduct private events by renting or leasing to private parties on a commercial basis. They will be amending Section 3.2 by adding in 3.2 is agricultural, a Section 3.2.10 private event venue, subject to Section 5.14, and to be allowed in residential by special permit and site plan approval by the planning board. Not allowed in multiple family residential, general business, industrial 2, or the village center. And under 5.14, it gives general requirements to be able to have a special event venue. Do you need me to go through those, or?
I don't, actually, I do know a little history behind this. It was some time ago. Actually, I was still on the planning board at that point. We had a town resident come to a meeting at one point and was looking to host different type of parties, events on their property. They wanted to do like different type of venues and things like that, and we didn't have any bylaws that would actually allow it. So that's one of the reasons why this was created. And I do remember the woman that came to the board meeting really talking about how much she loved Granby and the atmosphere here, and that, you know, bringing people in from other areas really to see what we have here and have an event. And she's talking like having like wedding receptions and stuff like that, like other towns do. You know, on their, you know, people have the big thing now is a lot of people are having weddings at barns and stuff like that, people's property and stuff like that. So that's she was thinking about that 3 years ago or so. So it's glad, I'm glad to see that it's, you know, it's coming to the town floor.
So they'd be able to have the venue at their property?
It's on their
And then
property.
it wouldn't cost them any money to do so, or they would go in front of the planning board and have to?
No, it actually allows them, so they'll probably end up being licensed as a business.
Okay.
So that what the zoning bylaw allows them to do is actually have that business
business
in
there.
that particular area. Yep. So,
Thank you.
And by going through the site plan approval process,
Yeah.
the neighbors have a chance to.
right, right.
Comment.
Right, that's the next step for anybody that wishes to do that, but this is actually the bylaw that allows them to have that.
But I'm
option.
just pointing out that through site plan approval process, the neighbors would be able to comment.
Oh, absolutely,
on the
yeah,
proposed
right.
venue.
Right,
Thank you, Chris. That was one of my questions I was gonna ask. The neighbors get to,
right, but
I
this,
want 500 people partying next door to me.
no, but it just gives them, this is the bylaw, it gives them the availability.
Yeah, I get the purpose of it. Makes
Because
sense.
without it, they couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Article 12 basically is, changing the procedures for the application and for site plan review and final action and appeals, or anything being put through for a special permit or a site plan review. And that's the warrant.
Can I ask a question about the Article 6?
Article 6.
You can
Yeah,
ask
the
any
clickers.
questions you want, Crystal.
Yeah. So,
Which one is 6?
that's the clickers for the
Okay,
$3,000. Is there a reason why we didn't use the clickers for every article that we passed at
That
town
was the
meeting?
call of the moderator.
Okay, so she determines which ones we use a clicker for and which ones we don't?
I was ready to have an article or a slide put or a vote programmed into the software
Yeah,
to have it, each one, and she's the one who determined whether or not to have it or not.
okay. I was just curious who determined that. And then, sorry, question on Article 8.
No.
So I know the Finance Committee said at their last meeting that they were going to do a feasibility study on all the departments in town. So I know this Article 8 is for short on staffing for the ambulance department. So I guess what my question is, the account that this money is coming from is their retained earnings, so that's the money that comes from people paying for ambulance rides and stuff like that, like that's their revenue account? Is that where it's
No,
come?
Retained
Okay,
earnings basically is in past years, they brought in more revenue
Okay.
than what was budgeted, or they spent less than what was budgeted, which creates a surplus. We call that free cash in the general fund.
okay,
This is, it's called retained earnings because it's a enterprise fund, so it's just a different term for free
Okay.
cash under enterprise funds.
thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other questions anymore?
I don't think so.
And what the finance committee was talking about at the town meeting, they want the board of selectmen to create a committee to do the study.
Okay,
And they believe that the board of selectmen should, when they create the committee, have it be comprised of department members, board members, and residents in general. To talk about moving forward and how we're going to meet all demands of departments in the future.
Okay.
yes, thank you.
All right. Do you need a vote on this, Chris? This is,
No.
no, you don't, right?
Put that up
What, about a month ago,
May
right?
16th.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember going over it before. All right. Do you have any common vic licenses?
Yes. We have license number 22-33 for Poppy's Fresh Onion Rings and Ice Cream, 21 Main Street, Cummington, Mass. 01026. Fee $25, and this is for the Charter Day event, and this expires on December 31st, 2022. Next one we have is for number 22-34, Poppy's Fresh Onion Rings and Fries, 21 Main Street, Cummington, Mass. 01026. Fee $25 for Charter Days at Dufresne Park, expiring December 31st, 2022. We have for Mark Finelli's Traveling Amusement Park, Inc., 41 Caspian Way, Fitch, Mass. 01420. Fee $25. It's number 22-35. This is for Charter Days at Dufresne Park, expiring December 31st, 2022. And then we have a flea market tag sale license, number 22-02 for the Church of Christ Congregational, Granby Center Common, Granby, Mass. Fee is to be waived on May, and the event is to be held on May 28th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. License is granted in conformity with the statutes and ordinances related thereto, and expires at 5:01 p.m. on the final day of the flea market tag sale, unless sooner suspended or revoked.
Is there a motion to approve the common vic licenses?
I'll make a motion that we approve and sign the common vic license number 22-33, expiring on 12/31/22, 22-34, expiring on 12/31/22, and 12-35, expiring on 12/31/22, and the flea market number 22-02 for 5/28/22, expiring on 5:01 p.m. after it closes.
The flea market is not part of Charter Days, correct?
Correct.
All right, so Rick, I'm going to ask if you could just separate, because the other three are part of Charter Days, correct?
Well, they're just common vics, but they're all for
For Charter Days, right?
food vendors and the amusement rides, yes.
Right, so if we could just separate the,
Okay, the flea market from the other one.
yes,
Do it that way.
right, so we'll do the Charter Days,
The charter, all right.
common vics, that would be the Charter Days but
The
first.
common vic license for the Charter Days are number 22-33, 22-34, and 22-35, all expiring on 12/31/22. And for the flea market,
We'll just leave it at that for now. All right, I'll second the motion for the common vics as read.
okay.
Is there any further discussion at this time?
I will abstain from the vote as chair of the Charter Day Committee.
Okay. All in favor of approving the licenses as read? Aye. All right. That's 2 yes and 1 abstain. Okay. So those are passed. Now, if you can do...
The flea market.
Yes, the flea market, please.
I make a motion that we approve and sign the common vic license for the flea market number 22-02, expiring at 5:01 p.m. on May 28th, 2022.
Second?
All right. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. For old business, we have the Director of Senior Services.
Yes, at a prior meeting, the board had talked about you wanted to create a questionnaire to be
Yes,
sent out to the elderly population.
yes.
Has the board thought of any questions they want included on that questionnaire?
Actually, I have some, but however, I would say if we wait till maybe our next meeting, since we have a new board member, so Crystal can have some input as well, so we can put that on for our next agenda, for our next
Just so
meeting.
we can keep moving on and
Yes.
get this position
Yep,
higher.
absolutely.
Okay.
We need to take care of that sooner or later.
Right.
All right.
It was just a tickler for you guys to,
Yeah, no, like I said, just that way Crystal can have a chance to think about it and have any questions he wants to put onto the questionnaire. So Crystal, we're basically, we're looking for a new director
Okay.
for our senior center for services. So the board decided to come up with a questionnaire for our seniors to see what they're looking for, what their needs are. So we actually look to hire someone, we can make sure that it's meeting the needs of our seniors.
Okay. So we're looking for questions for this, that's going to go to the seniors.
Right.
Mailed to
Yes.
them, and they can answer the questionnaire.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Is there anything else, Chris?
I just have one other thing, that mixed up with my convicts. The school committee is inviting you, or actually the principal of the high school is inviting you to commencement exercises on Saturday, June 11th, 2022. Program begins at 10 a.m. If you wish, you can also participate in the processional. To do so, just feel free to join in at the Natick Media Center at 9:30 a.m.
Okay.
And that's all I have for the board.
All right. Does any of the board members have anything?
I did receive an email today about the centennial at the Springfield, I'm not going to remember the hotel now, but they're having a luncheon there. Did you guys know anything about that?
First I heard.
From
It's the first
Pioneer
I've heard of
Valley? Yeah, so, I don't know, I got invited to it, so I just didn't know if this is like something that the select board goes to. It's at noon in Springfield.
I haven't heard anything.
I
June
never got-
2nd.
I never got anything on it, so
No.
I don't know.
Okay,
So,
well, I can forward
Can you
it.
look into it and forward it to us?
Yeah.
Forward to us,
And,
forward to Chris, yeah. Definitely like to see it. Anything else? Anybody?
No.
All right. So before we go any further, and I apologize because I probably should have started off with this, but then the meeting got going and I didn't want to bring it up in the middle of the meeting, but I do want to welcome Crystal to the select board.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you and hope you enjoy your time with us as a member. I can only speak from my own days as a board member. A lot of interesting things come up as week to week and month to month, so hopefully you enjoy it. And that's again to welcome you. And I also just want to take a minute to recognize Jen Silva, our past board member. I really thank her for publicly for her service to the town for the past 3 years. I know being on this board for the past 3 years, through COVID and through the pandemic, there's been some challenging times, especially for the board to meet and things like that, and some of the things that we struggled with as far as Zoom meetings and stuff like that, and it was some difficult things. So I do want to acknowledge her work for the town and to the select board. That's it.
And it's nice to see citizens participating again, in person.
So, if nobody has anything else, I would gladly entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd make a, oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, can I just ask one question?
Sure.
So, I have my conflict of interest paperwork, so do I give that to Mr. Martin or Kathy?
I think it would probably
I found
go
it.
to
Give it to the board.
four.
Okay.
We'll submit it.
And then, when I talked to the Ethics Commission, because I'm a town employee already, she gave me 3 different options as far as being a select board member. There are 2 exemptions. There's a selectman exemption, but there's 3 restrictions for that. So it would be receiving payment from one, but you cannot receive from both. No involvement with school matters budget-wise, and no position increases. And then these 2 would be removed if these 2 things occurred. She said that I would have to remove myself from the select board and wait 6 months before I take a position increase at the school. So that's the selectman's exemption. And then the other exemption was the general law 268A 20D, in which because I am already a town employee, I would need the select board to approve, or the members of the select board to approve me getting paid for a select board on top of my teacher pay or my teacher salary. So I have all the information and directions on what I have to do to file that, but I just wanted to give you guys the information, and I can print up another one too. So you guys can look it over, and I'll fill out the paperwork and we can go from there. So what I'm asking is for the 20D exemption underneath the general law 268A.
Well, I have no issues with Crystal being paid for both positions, obviously. Yeah. Actually, I'll make a motion that we approve for Crystal Dufresne's to be under general law, chapter 268A, 20D, as instructions for disclosure by special municipal employee that she's allowed to be paid for both positions with her town, for the position of school teacher and position of select board member.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion?
No.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
On your motion? We can't assign special municipal employee status to an individual. It has to be the position. So you're
So,
making the board of selectmen a select board member, a special municipal employee.
right, so it's technically the position of the select board member.
Correct.
So, with that said, then I will change my motion to just reference a select board member only. No particular names, but just a member of the select board.
And I will second it.
Any further discussion?
Not from me.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, all right.
Abstention.
I was gonna say,
Abstention?
can I vote for myself?
You could abstain. 'Cause
I was gonna say, I don't think I can vote.
No, you gotta
for myself. So I will abstain.
So, all right, well, that's it. You can now be paid for both
Thank you.
positions. All right, well, with that said, is there anything else for anybody? No? All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second? All right. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.